Triple H in WCW, or should I call him Terrorizing, or Terrorizing, or John Paul Levesque? Well, those were the names he went by in WCW. Now, let me explain. When Triple H was training and wrestling in Killer Kowalski's IWF, which he won the world title in, which he won the championship in, he needed a name. And Killer Kowalski came up with the name The Terrorizer. And Triple H didn't really like the name, but he didn't really want to argue with Killer Kowalski. So he wanted like an actual name, not The Terrorizer. So he suggested that Killer Kowalski give him an actual name. So Killer Kowalski wrote Terrorizing on a board, slashed a line through it, and said, "Now you're terrorizing." And Triple H thought that was one of the worst names anyone could give someone. But he, once again, did not want to argue with Killer Kowalski, because Killer Kowalski could always give him something worse. And so, Terrorizing was born. Well, then they called for the bills, because wrestling has bills to tell you of the night's matches and stuff at shows. And they misspelled his name, Terrorizing. And this comes straight from Triple H. And he said, "Great, they misspelled my name." But it was probably a good thing. So then he met someone from WCW at a Gold's Gym convention, because he was managing Gold's Gym. And they gave them his tape and his headshot. And so, but he was an undesirable because he didn't live around Atlanta. But he offered to pay for his own hotel and plane ticket. So he went down to Atlanta and did a couple of matches where he just kind of, showed them what he got. But after the second match, Bischoff wasn't there because he had to leave early. And Triple H got "we'll let you know." But Triple H thought the whole thing was unprofessional. But Arn Anderson thought Triple H did a great job. So then WCW offered to sign him, and Triple H, using his brains again, said, "Why don't you sign me for a year at $500,000 just to see if I can draw money?" So they agreed. And they once again went with the name Terra Rising, his old name from IWF, which they misspelled on his debut match as Terror Rising. Now, Triple H didn't know a whole lot about ring psychology at this time. He said he had 5 years experience. He actually only had 1. So he talked to Terry Taylor, who set him up at the power plant to learn about the things he didn't know about in the ring. And him and Terry Taylor, just like him and Arn Anderson, became good friends. Now, WCW heard his last name was Levesque. And the Terrorizing name wasn't really a gimmick. It was just his name. So they came up with a gimmick for him called John Paul Levesque. It was a snooty Frenchman, though Triple H did not speak French. I don't know many people who do speak French. Then again, most Americans do not speak a second language. They barely speak American. I mean, they barely speak English. So Triple H spoke with a fake, phony French accent, which sounded like Pepe Le Pew. And he was in the knee-high boots and pants with the riding pants and a puffy shirt, kind of like his look with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. His name was just John Paul Levesque, who he later teamed with William Regal with in the Blue Bloods. But Triple H left the Blue Bloods when he went to WWF after the year contract. Bischoff tried to convince him to stay, and so did several other wrestlers, including Ric Flair. But Ric Flair eventually gave in and said, "Go to WWF, Vince will make you a big star." And so Triple H always liked Flair because of that. Now, who took his place in the Blue Bloods? Bobby Eaton. And so the rest is history. And that was Triple H's time in WCW. He was terrorizing, and John Paul Levesque, a snooty Frenchman. And he learned a lot. And so, I don't know what next week's show is going to be about. I haven't thought that far ahead yet, because I'm shooting these things in advance in case something happens. But I know the movie of the week this week is the Black History Month movie, Blackenstein, the Black Frankenstein. So you'll definitely want to watch that. It has the only sensible character ever in a horror movie. See you then.